Thank you, councillors. I know that took a reasonable amount of time, but I thought it was quite important to hear both those presentations. Item number 11, the disposal report. Welcome, Tisha, and thank you. We have Kevin, Marriott and Sue Dodd, and I know Sue has been very involved with Wellsford, and I just thought it would be a good chance for Sue to maybe give us a quick outline why, and I know it's been moved and seconded, but Tisha, if you want to start off, and then Sue, maybe you could just tell us a little bit about Wellsford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Take the report as read and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. So Sue, would you just like to give us some information about what's happening in Wellsford and why it's so important that we retain this building?
So, yeah, Wellsford's a small rural community on the edge of Auckland, as probably most people know, basically the community's got quite a poor image of itself. They think that Aucklanders see it as a place to drive through and get a pie and go to the toilet on their way up north. And they've sort of picked up some of this image themselves. And they're really keen to use the old library as a place which is in a really prominent position right at the entrance to town, where they can showcase and highlight the things in the area that they think of value that Aucklanders, you know, might like to share, such as artisan produce, crafts, arts, and just the information about the beautiful surrounding countryside. So that's basically what they want to use it for. And the idea is that the local board has set money aside and will support it for the first 3 years, but after that it has to become self-supporting.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay, so I've got Member Taipari.
Kia ora, Madam Chair. I think it's consistent that I always acknowledge your reports and Māori impact statements, and I can only but hope that others will take a lead and adopt some of the templates that you use, particularly how you've highlighted things and identified the iwi and their specific feedback on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member. Councillor Filipaina. Councillor Filipaina.
Thank you, Chair. My comment really through you, Chair, is around the business case that you've mentioned in the report for disposal, and that's on page 14. Can you ensure that the assistance, as you've identified in 13, actually happens? Because there was an issue last year with the Otara Papatoetoe local board. They wanted assistance, and it was apparently verbally given, but wasn't given physically. So I'm sort of asking there that if there is a local board request for a business case and assistance around it, that it is given, because I know that there's a library in Otahuhu that are currently going through discussions with the local board, but they're hearing nothing around putting a case forward around the retention of.
Madam Chair, if I could just respond to that.
Yes.
In respect of the business case that was prepared, we worked very, very closely with the officers who were preparing that business case and provided feedback and advice on that. One of the differences between the business case that you referred to with the previous local board and this one was a budget was provided. We were in a difficult situation in the last time in that there wasn't a budget, and we, as you are aware, like the rest of the council family, we don't have unlimited funds of money either, so ACPL, we're not in a position to provide that budget. In respect of the old Otahuhu Library, I actually had a workshop with the Mangere Otahuhu local board. I believe it was on the 4th of February. I may have my dates wrong, but I have already met with them. I've had numerous conversations with their manager. That property has not yet gone into the rationalisation process, so as I have explained, we aren't in a position to actually start accepting business cases because we're still waiting to ascertain that we've got all the correct legal, technical and historical information. I've explained this to the local board and I've explained it to their relationship manager and their advisor. Yeah,
this is a request through you, Chair. This is a request from the local board that myself and Councillor and I attended our local board meeting. So this is a request directly from them to you. That's one. In regards to the Otara Papatoetoe, I got one story from ACPL and got another one from the chair and the local board. So I just want to make sure that they actually end up getting the right story, because I got a totally different one.
No, I think,
Yes.
I mean, it's not really part of this
No, it was
item.
just, it was mentioned in there.
I think the
If I could just reiterate that I have met with the local board, I've had a 1-hour workshop with them already, and we are going through our process, but I do need to ascertain that I do have all the correct legal information, information about Section 40 offerbacks, etc. Before I actually go any further. I need to make sure that we're not in a position where we're setting council up to be in a position in the future where...
Can you communicate that then? Can you
have.
communicate, because it's not getting through?
More than happy to
Thank you.
communicate it with the board, but I have,
Thank
as
you.
I say, met
Well,
with them, and I'm happy to provide
It was
any...
from last night.
Was it last night?
We had the meeting last night. So can you just communicate back to them?
More
That's
than
all I'm
happy to
asking.
do that. More than happy to do that. And as I say, I have had a workshop with them on the 4th of February, and I'm happy to set something up an email as
Last
well
night.
confirming it.
Thank you.
I'm telling you.
Okay, right, thank you. I know that you do a lot of work, Letitia. And Councillor Watson.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very pleased to see this recommendation with regarding the Wellsford Old Library. Just a couple of questions that occur to me as a result of that. When you're looking for disposal, there's obviously clearly here there's a strong political and social imperative to hold on to this, but strategically it's pretty clear that in the future Wellsford is going to be an area of growth. Growth is going to occur. It's sweeping up northwards, and that's in a very strategic position in the town centre. So when we're looking at disposal, is that factored into the decision and recommendation reports?
Through the chair, when we look at the disposal of properties, what we're trying to ascertain in determining if they should be recommended for retention or disposal is if there's a future service use and if there's a budget supporting that. There are strict legislative requirements around when council can hold on to property, which is set out in the Public Works Act, that we have to act in accordance of. There's often things like Section 40 offerback requirements that if we don't fulfil those in certain cases, and this is speaking in general principles, we can be setting council up to be in a position where they have to actually offer compensation back to the previous owners. In this instance here, this was looked at by our development team, as all of our sites are. However, the development team at the moment, its focus is on trying to provide the trying to realise the principles set out in the Housing Accord, so where there can be and towns, urban regeneration, housing, meeting housing demand in Auckland, etc. So again, they are trying to concentrate their energies into where it's of the highest and best use at the moment for the Auckland region.
And that's going to be quite a few parts of Auckland.
It is indeed.
And just the final question just occurs to me, which again might have a general application. In this instance, the land had been gifted by no less than Prime Minister Gordon Coates for the purposes of a war memorial. I don't know what the exact circumstances of the gifting were, what was the conditions, but in instances such as that, and there will be other areas where there's land which have been gifted to the community, to the council for no cost, what is our obligations then to meet that gifting, or to meet the spirit of that gifting, if not the contractual terms or what are met? Because clearly people have done that in the past for a specific instance, and this is a change of circumstances. In some case, the benefits of that gifting are lost. So what line are we taking in that?
Through the chair, in respect of the Crown gifting land to council, historically it was very, very common. This has happened with a lot of previous community facilities. In respect of what the wider Auckland Council has done in respect of returning that gift, a new library facility has been built in the Wellsford area, and that has been, I guess, what the normal expectation would be is that when one community facility is replaced by council with another one, to offset some of the costs of that, the assumption, sometimes implicit, sometimes explicit in the business cases for that, is that the previous facility is disposed of to cover some of the costs of the new facility, which are generally, as I'm sure you all appreciate, they take quite a bit of capital funding to build these new facilities. In this particular instance, there was an alternative use that was provided, or that has been provided to us by Community Facilities and Community Development, and in support of the Rodney Local Board, to retain the previous site as well. And so in this instance, we are supporting it. But in terms of the wider council, a new library has been created, which I understand the Wellsford community is very happy with.
They're loving it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're very, very pleased with our library. It's even got electric plug-ins for cars. And I believe this will also be a part-time service centre, Sue, is that right?
There is some discussion about the need for a service centre in Wellsford at the moment, but really undecided as to where it might go and what level of service is actually required. So that's something we're just exploring at the moment.
Thank you. Councillor Cooper.
No, I think I'm all right. Some of those questions have been answered for me, Madam Chair. Thank
Great.
you.
Well, can I say I'm absolutely delighted with this recommendation. I would have liked to have moved it myself. Thank you. So I'll
Madam
it's
Chair,
been moved.
can I just ask one question?
Sorry, Councillor Crum.
Can I just get clarification on ongoing governance and management structures for the new use of the old library? It's referenced a couple of times in the report that the possibilities of, I might be reading it wrong, but one group overtaking it and that not being a shared arrangement, the worst case scenario, in other words. So governance and structure management, how is that going to be handled going forward?
So through the chair, the vision of the local board is to see the facility operated in the future as a community-led enterprise, probably led by a single legal entity that would provide local governance and management around the operations on site. But clearly the intent is that the practice that takes place from that facility is open to that community, fulfills an element of the community hub approach that grows a greater sense of ownership. What's intended post the initial decision is to formalise an expression of interest process, and through that expression of interest process we'll be looking for interested parties to advise us in the first instance what a successful operating model looks like for that future facility, noting the intentions of the local board.
Okay, thank you. No other questions. I'll put the recommendations. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you, Letitia, as usual.
Thank you, Madam Chair.